The Barstar Podcast, hosted by Stephen O'Reilly, is a podcast about working musicians, their friends, and their opinions. Stephen is a musician in Louisville, Kentucky, who has... Wait a second. This guy's a drummer, not a real musician? Somebody gave a drummer a microphone for his voice? The hell? Unreal. Unbelievable.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Barstar Podcast. Black Plague Edition. Quarantine Edition. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. I am your host, Stephen O'Reilly. I want to thank you guys for coming back once again to hang out with my obviously dumb ass. And I appreciate the downloads and the continued support, especially now in this crazy time, in the crazy world we live in. Hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody had a good week, and I hope you guys are staying safe and shit. Please take a moment to check out my sponsors. I don't have any more. I'm just kidding. Make sure you guys support local businesses. That is one PSA that I wanted to make before I say anything else today. Make sure you support your local restaurants, your local food stores, stands, bodegas, wherever you live, whatever you have around you. Make sure you support the local businesses and the small businesses. They need your help more than ever. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say. It's not up for debate. It is what it is. Support local, support small businesses. Now, today on the show, I have a very cool conversation with one Mr. Ian Bottomley. Ian is a badass drummer here in Louisville. We have known of each other for a very long time. We've had several online interactions and several short conversations in person, but nothing of length. So we dive into all kinds of shit. And we talk about our relationship and how it started and where it stemmed from and all that kind of good stuff. We get into all kinds of music talk, talk about the scene, talk about his past, how he started playing drums. It's kind of a cool story. And we do geek out for a little while. So if you are turned off, so to speak, by a lot of drum language, this episode might bore the shit out of you. Just consider yourself warned. That being spoken into this microphone as I stare out my window. We had a lot of fun. Ian's an awesome dude. He's a great drummer. He is in the band Vice Tricks, which is a great band. I got to see some of their stuff online and listen to a little bit of it, and I dig it. And I've always liked their presentation anyway, so make sure you check out the show notes so you can keep up with Vice Tricks and everything that Ian is doing, and that is it. I will talk to you guys on the other side of this. Here is my conversation with Mr. Ian Bottomley. That would be me. Well, it's. I think it only shows on my side. Yeah, it's recording. So, to avoid legal things, please tell the parties they're being recorded. I'm recording you, shithead. Yay! Yay! Okie dokie. So, I'm a monster truck.
Is that what that says?
Yeah, all your shit says I'm a monster truck.
Yeah.
Your Instagram and all that stuff. So, I am hanging out via social distancing on Skype with one Mr. Ian Bottomley. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
That's it? That's all I get? Just a pretty good?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, man. Bored as shit.
Well, we will get to that. The one thing I wanted to start with is you and I, and by the way, even though my listeners know I don't do videos, you guys will be happy to know that Ian's computer is sitting on his snare drum, and that makes me happy. Where I wanted to start at, I should say, words, all the fucking words, is you and I have known each other for a while, but we don't know each other very, very well. We have unfortunately never had a chance to sit down and have an extended conversation, just given circumstances, you're so busy, I'm so busy, yada, yada, yada. So that's where I wanted to start is, are you from Louisville? You're from here, right?
I grew up in Southern Indiana, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, as soon as I got a bicycle, I was coming across the bridge.
I'm not from here, so I say this with absolutely no remorse. Whenever I go to Indiana, I get depressed immediately. I don't like it there. I don't know why. I mean, it's not that Louisville's much better, and neither one of them are bad per se. It's just something weird when I go to Indiana. I get depressed. I don't understand it. You and I met through Bobby O. Is that correct, or is that incorrect?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember. And you have been playing drums forever and a day, right?
Since 85, 84, I don't know, around, or 95, 94.
Okay, because you're younger than me, right?
I just turned 40.
Yeah, you're not that much younger than me. I'm 45.
Tight.
So you didn't start playing until the 90s, basically?
Yeah, 94, 95. I always wanted to, but, got a drum kit when I was 95 years old and started playing it.
When you were ass. When you were 95. I like it. So
Yeah,
what is your playing background? Like, what led you to drums? And don't worry, this isn't going to be an interview. You've listened to a bunch of my shows, which on my show, thank you for that. I appreciate it. You've supported me since day one.
I love it.
Thank you. What made you decide to play drums? Because you obviously know my story. My listeners know my story. I'm not going to rehash it. So what is your deal?
It's just always been in me. I've always wanted to play drums and didn't know this until later in life, but my father was and is a drummer still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I come from quite a musical family. His siblings, incredibly talented, guitar, keys, bass, sing, neat stuff. Grew up. I just never knew my dad played.
Right.
My mother kept that from us. Because he was gigging and he was running around playing shows, gigging, chasing bands, and all the stuff that comes along with it. And
so he was just doing everything we do.
Yeah. But my mom got pregnant with me, and she put the kibosh on it.
Gotcha.
So she died in 95, and my dad immediately went out and got a drum kit. And
I don't know what to say to that.
That was it, man. Well, there's nothing to say. It's what happened.
No, I mean, I don't know if I should give you my condolences, or if I should say that's badass that your dad just immediately went and bought a drum kit. I don't know where to go with that.
It's both. It was pretty immediate. Man, it may have been 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't know. I mean, heck, I was 15 years old. Right. But, and somebody had sent me a picture of me playing on a drum kit when I was 14. So I know I'd been playing before. None of it stuck until I was actually able to do it every day.
Right.
And figure it out. But yeah, so it's 95. Is it 25 years?
Yep. I just passed a little over 30. I think I've been doing it for 32 or 33 years, something like that. I don't even know. I'm 45, and I wanted to start when I was 11 or 10. I kind of vaguely remember that, but I think I got my first rig when I was 13.
Cool.
So we're looking at 32, 31 years, whatever the hell it is. When you get our age, brother, we tend to forget shit.
Yeah. I know I started later than I wanted to, but
right.
At least I got to jump in and figure it out.
That is definitely true. Now you have, from what I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, and feel free to throw me right under the fucking bus because I don't care. You have always done majority original stuff, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I was in one cover band. And that's how I met Derek Podolsky.
Never heard of him.
We had a mutual. No, man.
I love that dude. He's next. I need to get him on the show. I've been wanting to get him on the show for a while. But enough about him.
Salt of the earth, man.
Yes, he is a good dude.
But we had a mutual friend, Nathan Mitchell. He's a drummer, and told me about this gig that he just couldn't do anymore. He was in a cover band and made pretty good money. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll go audition. Wasn't playing with anybody at the time. And so I met Derek Podolsky. And I'm not really sure how long I was in that band, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But we did USO tours for the Air Force and Coast Guard. It's pretty cool. Went up to Greenland.
Nice. Very cool.
Greenland, Alaska, around the United States, just, entertaining and supporting our troops. And man, those people can party.
I've heard that before.
I was just getting my kills. I wasn't even old enough to drink yet. And we were playing these clubs on these Air Force bases, and they were throwing down. Nice.
So what kind of covers were you doing?
Top 40 country and rock. We had I think she was Miss Indiana 94. Her name was Dana Brewer. I'm sure it still is. I imagine she's still alive. But and she did all the female stuff, and then another guy, Kenny Smith, went by the name Ken Ryan. He sang all the dude stuff, and we played anything and everything from country to classic rock and top hits of the 90s, and it was fun. I think I did it for about a year and a half, and we were playing this club called Super Toads in Des Moines, Iowa, and that was yeah, man. That was they had this enormous place. Was ridiculous. I think there were 2 or 3 mechanical bulls, 5 or 6 bars. It was just huge. It was this big room. And the stage fills were massive on either side of me. And I've never done anything like that. And there was a dance floor full of people, and they were line dancing. And we were playing a Creed song, Arms Wide Open. And that's when I fell out of love with it was just too much, man. 10-gallon hats and boots and line dancing to a Creed song that we were playing. And it was wild because I did a little digging and found the history on that place. And Megadeth and Metallica played there a lot.
Oh, really?
So my expectations were far different
than what you actually got.
Than the boot, scoot, and boogie, But it was fun. I had a great time with that band, and that was my only cover experience. Everything else has been original.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. I've done my share of gigs that you go to the venue and you think it's going to be amazing, and you get there and it blows. It's like, wait, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
That's always a lot of fun. So why did you and there is a reason I'm asking you these weird questions. I'm going somewhere with this. Why did you decide to not do the cover thing? Why did you stay in original, so to speak? Do you have a particular reason, or it's just kind of the way it worked out?
Just kind of the way it was.
Gotcha.
I've always had people to play with, and that's just the way it's worked, But I mean, some of the original bands I've played in, we've always had our renditions of cover tunes and do our variations of things, but just strictly covers. I don't know. It just never happened, really.
Right. Well, the reason I was asking that question, the way I just asked you, is because as a drummer, and because you and I know pretty much the same people, there's always the debate of covers versus originals, and I think it's a fucking silly debate. It annoys me.
Yeah. I mean,
so I wanted to know where you stand
in regards to playing cover music.
Yeah, like which one do you, if you have a preference and why, and you kind of just answered the question, you didn't necessarily have a preference, it just kind of worked out that way that you always did originals.
I've always enjoyed the challenge of creating. And I've always enjoyed creating our own thing.
Right.
I guess I play covers almost every night when I sit down and put my earbuds in and play on my kid at home,
Yeah, because you have a basement and it makes me jealous.
Well, Tommy turned me on to these the Arton Black Holes.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mesh head cover that slips over the head, and they're tunable, so you can tune them to the pitch of your drums, and they're quiet.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty
I'll have
wild,
to check
man.
this out.
Yeah, I mean, this is me hitting one of my floor toms right now. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah.
This is with it off.
Ah, it is pretty cool.
So pretty neat. You know, so I can play until 2 a.m. and Carol isn't stomping on the floor yelling at me. That's the only way that works.
Well, thankfully for now, there's Trio Production House, which used to be Louisville Music Studios. Jake Badger just bought it. Shout out to Jake, by the way, who just lost his dad to COVID-19, which sucks. But I at least have that place. And of course, I pay monthly rent and stuff, but I at least have that place and it's 24-hour access. The only drawback to that is you get to walk downstairs. I have to drive like 30 miles.
Yeah.
That part kind of blows, but whatever.
Yeah.
At least I have somewhere I can play. And the irony is, for me, as long as I've been playing drums, I've never been able to play at home, ever. Nowhere I've lived, I've been able to have my drums at home.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does suck. I joke with myself more than anybody else because I have full-blown conversations with myself. But I joke with myself all the time. I wonder how good I could be if I could play every day.
Oh, shit. I couldn't imagine.
I might actually get the hang of this drumming thing.
Well, the videos you've been posting, man, you know what you're doing.
Thanks. I wasn't looking for a compliment. I always think about it because I see younger players that are 15, 16, and they're doing shit that blows my mind. And I think to myself, man, if I could play drums at home, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only reason I always joke with myself. It would be a luxury that I've never known in 30 years of playing drums.
Yeah. It's a game changer.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, there's this dude I watch on Instagram. His name's Corey Eves. I don't know if you know who that guy is. You should go check him out.
Might be one of the ones I follow. Let's do a podcast faux pas. I'm going to pull up my phone while you're talking to me. What's his name?
Corey Eves. Eaves. He's a local guy. He's pretty sick.
Is that him?
Eaves.
Oh, sorry.
And I think it might be a Cory.
Is that him?
Yeah.
I'll follow him.
Yeah, he's pretty sick though, man.
Nice.
One of the most fluid players.
I love finding new players, and I love finding players that think way differently from me. That's the one thing I love about music anyway, is everybody thinks different. But I love finding players that, I hate to use the term outside of the box, but it's the only thing I can think of. There was a guy, I'm not even going to give him a shout out because I can't remember his fucking name, but he took like a punk song and turned it into this just real garbagey, swampy funk groove. And it was killer. It was so cool. Yeah, I love kind of shit like that. So I'll definitely check that dude out.
Yeah, he does a lot of neat stuff.
Nice. Now, what band are you in now?
I'm in a band
I
called
know,
Vice.
but you have to tell the people that don't know.
I'm in a band called Vice Tricks.
Vice Tricks.
Yeah, we're a psychobilly, punk rock and roll type thing. We've got an upright bassist, and we just jam, have a good time.
Who I would not fuck with. That chick would cut me.
She cuts me all the time. Freaking, those bass grooves, man. I mean, she makes my life easy playing kit. That kick drum, man. I don't have to do a whole lot. I mean, she really carries it. I just kind of ride her wake.
Nice.
It's pretty dope.
I've seen some videos, and I remember somebody had asked me. They sent me a video. This was a year or so ago, and they said, "Do you know who this band is?" And I knew who it was because of you, but I wasn't super familiar. In the video they sent me was her riding her upright bass while she was playing it, and I went, I don't care who this is. This is the fucking shit. I love it.
Yeah, man. That girl wakes up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every day and runs and works out and clean houses all day. I mean, she's tough.
Nice.
Tough
Now,
as
how did you
nails.
get that gig? Did you know all of them, or was it an opening kind of thing? Hey, we need a drummer.
I knew Jeremy and Verity for quite a while. I'd played in bands with Jeremy years prior. His old band, Dead City Rejects, played the last couple of years that band existed. Just been good friends with them for a long time, and they needed a drummer. And I think at the time, because they were poaching me for a while, but
Doesn't
at
it
the
feel good when
time
you
I
get
was,
poached?
I don't know, man. I always felt bad saying no.
I feel bad saying no too, but it still feels good to get poached.
But I was in a band called Armady, and then Zookings. And then I was
Never
filling
heard
in
of
for
them.
for another band called Diver Bird. So I was kind of doing three different things and couldn't do a fourth.
Gotcha.
You know. So, and then all that stuff kind of stopped at the same time. And I reached out to Jeremy. I was like, "Yo, what's up?"
Yeah.
And, I auditioned, and boom. It's
Gotcha.
been about 9 years, I guess.
Has it been that long since you've been in the band?
Yeah.
Now you guys gig pretty well. I mean, obviously not now, but you guys gig pretty regularly, right?
Yeah. We pretty steady hopping around. I get up to Indianapolis a lot, Chicago, Cincinnati, Nashville, and just the area, everything in between. We don't go out too far.
No, that's still cool that you're traveling at all.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of bands can't even travel or won't travel.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
It's kind of a pain in the ass, but it is what it is.
yeah, our guitarist, he's got 3 kids, and we got another singer. She's got a kid, and it's tough, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, life happens. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep. That's what happens when you're not 20 years old anymore.
Wait, we're not 20?
Shit. Did I say that? Damn.
You did. You let the cat out of the bag. We're old, dude.
Yeah, well.
Face it, we're old, brother.
Yeah, well. I feel it.
I don't yet. The only thing I feel is after a gig, especially a 3-hour gig, the morning after is a little harder to get out of bed. Not like I'm in dire pain and I can't fucking move, but it's a little harder to. Oh wow, that's a new pain. I didn't know those existed. Do I have joints right there? I didn't realize that. Oh, okay, 1 foot at a time, brother. You got this. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine is more in my upper body. My knees have always been, I used to run a lot when I was younger. So my knees are pretty tired, but it's mostly my shoulders and my elbows, my wrists, my hands anymore.
I have all that, but I also have slight hip and ankles. And it's not necessarily due to the way that I sit, because you know that I sit super high. Mm-hmm. But the higher I've gone over the years, the less my back is hurt. It doesn't hurt anymore. The thing with my hips and my ankles, I think, is because I kick so damn hard, and I use my entire leg. I'm not just using and I'm using the word like as in an example, not, hey man, like, drives me batshit. I'm not using the floating technique or just the hover. I'm using my entire leg every time I kick, and it's a habit that I've tried to break, and about 2 or 3 years ago I gave up on it. It's just not going to happen. That's the way I kick.
Yeah, man, you do what you do. I do the same thing. I mean, I wear my pedal out, but I don't play in shoes either, so I can slide, and I don't know.
Oh, I forgot you do play barefoot.
Yeah, it sucks.
I used to play barefoot, but I hang over the inside baseball. I only say that term because it pisses Todd O'Mara off. I love you. Inside baseball, kids. I slightly, and I'm doing this for your edification because you can see me, I slightly edge my feet. Will go to the right or the left depending on which foot is on which pedal. I will edge towards the outside, and when I used to play in barefoot, I would slice the inside of my toes on my pedals.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think, and it's not necessarily a bad technique because it puts the ball of my foot more towards the center of the pedal, which the ball of your foot is where the most power is going to come from anyway. That's why I started doing that. I don't hang off the edge as bad as I used to. I still do, but I used to hang off so bad I would slice the insides of my toes. So that's why I stopped playing in barefoot. Yeah, it sucked.
Good Lord, dude.
And I used to do that when I was doing death metal.
Whew.
Which means after we had a long rehearsal or a decent gig, that the next day I was literally not walking.
You're bleeding all over your gear.
Mm-hmm. I wish we had cell phones back then when I started in the 90s and doing all the death metal stuff I did. I think my first band was in 94. Might have been 95. I don't know. I had been playing before that, but that was my first actual real band. And it would just look like a crime scene behind my rig. It was great.
I am so glad that there weren't cell phones back then.
Oh, I have some footage of me from back then that will never be released.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some old, what was it? 9mm or whatever it was. The old cassette recorder.
Oh yeah.
Tape.
Yep. Remember the first one that took an actual full-size VHS cassette?
Yeah, my dad had one of those. He had the thing that you had to carry around. And he had the camera, it had the tether or whatever.
There was some tethering involved in that thing. It weighed 150 fucking pounds. Thing was ridiculous. So since you brought up the Zoo Kings, some of my listeners know, a lot of them don't because I haven't talked about it, not for any other reason. I've not avoided it. It just hasn't come up yet. The Zoo Kings was started by Bobby O, Dave Moody, and myself. And then when I left, you came in. Actually, when Dave and I left, you came in. Why did you guys end that? Do you remember? Or did it just kind of fizzle out?
It just kind of fizzled. Because Derek Podolsky played bass.
Yeah, I remember Derek came in too.
Yeah, so it was me, Derek, and Bobby, and we tracked. We did some tracking, and stuff sounded good. I think it just kind of went away. I think live just took us in different directions, and we all were working full time as well. So, I'm not really sure. Bobby and I, we always talk about, doing some tracks and some other stuff, but we'll see.
Well,
but
he's got that other project Rev now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you heard any? Because I haven't heard any of that stuff. Have you heard any of that stuff yet?
Yeah, he's got it up on I think SoundCloud and Bandcamp. It jams, dude. Bobby O, that dude is a riff writing son of a gun, man.
He is a riff writing machine. You are 1,000,000% right on that.
I mean, I love everything that dude has put together. So I just, I played with Flux after Chico and Moody left. I filled in for a while, and that was a blast playing with Bobby O and Christian. That was a hoot, man.
Now, what time period would that have been? Because that band was done before I ever even moved up here.
Gosh, man.
Wasn't that early 2000s or something?
Yeah. God, I want to say 03, 04 maybe.
Gotcha.
I really don't.
That would have been a couple of years before I moved here. I moved here in 07.
Yeah.
I've been here 13 years.
Yeah, you're 13 years old.
I know, I'm 13. Look at me. Yay. I want to go get my first beer. Wait, what?
We're going to throw you a Sweet 16 party. Get you all dolled up.
All right, fine. I'm not wearing a wig, though.
It's fine. I would not want you to wear a wig.
I don't want to do the wig thing.
I like your shiny head. It's cute.
Oh my God, it's so cute. So when you were starting to play, when you figured out that I'm going backwards, because I'm a horrible fucking podcast person and I forgot to ask you this question, who were some of your first influences? And you don't have to be specific as far as drummers. I mean, just anything. Were you digging on certain bands, or were you just doing like what I did? I went down one path for probably 5 years, and then I went, oh shit, there's way more music than just this. Or do you even remember?
Yeah, I remember. Gosh, my dad brought that kit home. He put it up in his bedroom and would lock the door. And he would jam on. I'd just listen. was like, man, I don't really want to do that. And I found my way into his room and I'd play, and I asked him to teach me what to do. He just handed me a stack of CDs,
Right.
and just said, I just listen to this and just sit down and do it. And
Nice.
I picked it up. So, I mean, just everything. I mean, gosh, of course, Bonham, Ginger Baker, Grohl, you know, Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots. I mean, just everything.
Right.
All, like, there's so much stuff. Boston. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Some of those old bands that my dad always listened to, like Alex Harvey, the sensational Alex Harvey band.
Ooh, I'll have to check that out. I don't know who that is.
Dude, it's a trip. It's wild. I'll text you a YouTube link to a couple of videos, man. Wild. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, do that. I always want to find these shit.
But just everything and anything. I've always wanted to play. I remember it being as a kid, we would travel. His parents lived in, or his mother, my grandma lived in Tampa, and we would travel during the summer and Christmas to Florida. And he would always be blasting music, and I'd always be in the back seat just tapping and feet moving, hands moving.
Right.
I always had it, you know. And even in high school, middle school, I always wanted to play drums, and they gave me a trumpet. You got too many drummers. Take this trumpet. And I got really good at the trumpet, Steven.
You know why I'm laughing? I'm laughing because I did the same thing. I played fucking trumpet in middle school.
I think I heard you say something about that on one of your old episodes.
Yep, I did. I totally played trumpet.
I think it may have been my sophomore, junior year. I worked my way up to first chair trumpet, but every year I would audition to play drums. And they would just hand me the trumpet because I got good at it. In my senior year, this was in '98, I auditioned and they gave me a trumpet. And I just took it. I threw it down the stairs and I took a study hall because I wanted to play drums. I've never had lessons. I don't know how to read. I've just sat down and listened to what dudes were doing and did it.
Figured it out. Right. Yeah. No, I did that forever, and eventually I've already started to get a few, but people keep telling me, stop fucking saying it on your podcast. Everybody, what I'm about to say, that is, everybody in Louisville, let me rephrase that, not everybody. A lot of musicians in Louisville think I'm the music school kid, and it's backwards. And I don't know if you know, but I didn't go to music school till I was 29. I had already toured most of the Southeast, actually most of the East Coast anyway. I didn't make it to New York before I went to music school, but pretty much every other state on the East Coast, I had already been touring and shit. I did the same thing that almost all drummers do. I listened to guys, I figured it out, and I studied my ass off and tried to imitate and do all that shit. And when everything went south when I was living in Atlanta, that's when I went to music school. The band that moved me down there, that gave me a shit pile full of money to move and took care of all my expenses and yada, yada, yada. When that all broke up, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no clue. I didn't have a job. I didn't have work history in Atlanta. And there was one night where I saw a late night commercial for AIM, and I thought to myself, well, fucking, I ain't got nothing else to lose, and I don't have anything else to do right now. That's when I went to music school. I didn't go to music school until I was 29.
Wow.
I don't know if you knew that about me or not, but the only reason I'm telling you that is because I know exactly what you're talking about. You go, especially guys our age. I mean, we're only 22, right?
Yeah, I just turned 23. Yeah.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
We would go back and forth on the CDs. I remember those days. In fact, I still kind of do it. I still use CDs, believe it or not. I use them more digital just because it's more convenient. But just going back and forth, going, what the fuck is this guy doing here? Because a lot of people forget, especially the younger cats. We didn't have YouTube. We couldn't watch motherfuckers do shit.
Yeah.
We had to use our earbobs, and that's all we had.
That's how you learn to visualize what you're hearing too.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
So you can kind of picture what kind of rig they're on and where they're hitting what, and that's how I learn, man.
I still think it's the best way to learn, personally. Even though I taught for 15 years, and after I graduated music school and all that shit, I still think it's one of the best ways to learn because you're not relying on anything but your ears. And I hate to use the word feel, but I'm not meaning feel as in feel how a drummer plays, but feel as in what does it feel like to hit this drum or hit that cymbal or kick this kick drum hard or soft or whatever. I still think it's the best way to learn.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I wouldn't know otherwise. I haven't. Yeah, I almost.
Yeah, but you're a badass, so the proof's in the pudding, sir. I have watched you play. I have not gotten to the part in the show where I dole out compliments and kiss your ass. But no, seriously, you're a great fucking drummer, so it works. There's a lot of truth in it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I almost had my father, my Uncle Ron. He heard a conversation my dad and I were having about me getting lessons or whatever, and Ron just looked at me and he's like, "You don't need lessons. Just keep doing what you're doing." He's an old school cat, man. I mean, the dude was in a band called Bits and Pieces years ago in the '60s, late '60s, and he got drafted to Vietnam. He toured. I've got a pretty dope picture of him with his commanding officer playing an acoustic guitar. And I mean, Ron, I think, was like 18, 19 years old. But I mean, the dude's legit, man. I grew up watching him play, and he lives in Nashville. He pulled out an old box he had a bunch of old reverb pedals and wah pedals, like prototype pedals from like when they were starting to build those things.
From the 60s and 70s?
Because he was in the studios.
Oh, that's awesome.
These builders were coming. He was like, "Hey, take this with you and let me know what you think." And he sent one of them to one of the same Ash stores, a couple of these pedals, and they had them on display for a while. I'm not sure if they're still up there or not, but one of those stores in Nashville. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, he looked at me when I was probably 16, 17 years old. And he's like, "You don't need lessons. Just keep playing."
Yeah.
I guess I did. I don't know.
You'll figure it out. You'll be fine. Yeah. So if you heard that little noise that I'm so fond of now, that's because Ian and I went down a rabbit hole that's none of y'all's damn business.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, I started this show with talking about you and I not knowing each other very well, and we met through Bobby. When did we actually meet? Do you remember? Because my memory blows.
Oh, shoot, the year, man. I couldn't tell you what year it was. It was at Phoenix Hill.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. Yeah, I was up there and ran into him. I don't even know who I went up there with that night, but I just ended up hanging out with him, and I think he was with Chico. And you were up there and introduced us.
Was that playing or was I just hanging?
Shoot, man, I don't know. I've never really been one to hang out. So when I'd go out with somebody, I typically just kind of get into what's happening, and whatever happens.
Well, fair enough.
Wasn't really sure who was playing that night, to be honest, but I couldn't tell you the year. It was fall. I remember the season.
I'm a seasonal kind of guy. Well, here's the reason why that question is important, because I've touched on it twice. Is I remember meeting you. I remember we got along and we talked gear and drums, because that's what drummers do, because we're a bunch of fucking geeks. And I never saw you play until you played in the Zoo Kings. After
yeah. Man,
which is kind of weird.
I saw you walking around and I was thinking, oh shit. Just because, man. I mean, those are some shoes to fill, man. And yeah. And of course I knew it because I filled in for another band around that time called Diver Bird, and they were a great band. And Donnie Arbuckle was the drummer, and he would always do this crazy stuff, and I just always heard the music a little different. And
right,
so he, like John, the guy, he was always like, just do what you feel.
Right.
And Bobby O was the same way. When I got into Zoo Kings, he's like, I don't expect you to do what O'Reilly did, just digest a song and do what you feel. So, but I'm sitting here, I'm listening to some of those, like that Phil in Shotgun Wedding. Shoot.
Yeah, I had to think about it.
Yeah. And I just like, man, I don't feel that. Like, I feel it when I hear the song, but when I'm on the kit, I don't know if I want to do that. And Of course, when I saw you and we played the gig, and afterwards, I was like, he's gonna say something about that, and you did. Like 10 minutes later,
I did.
and shit, yeah, man. You're like, man, I was waiting to hear that Phil, and I was like, ah, shit.
Okay, I'm an asshole. I apologize.
Well, no, I mean, you gave me a compliment. You said it was very good, so.
Oh, you're a great drummer.
But
I think sometimes my wife tells me this. Sometimes my fucking mouth overrides my brain, and I don't think before I speak. I have no filter, so I've never meant anything bad by it. So I apologize.
No, but that was a kick-ass Phil. And I think that those licks that are in songs that stick. They're just licks that stick. And that was one of those moments in that song that stuck, and I didn't. And I didn't at all, wasn't offended or anything by it. I thought it was funny because I knew it. But
dickhead's gonna ask me about the film.
O'Reilly.
That was
a fun band to play with, though. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Again, I've never talked about it on the show, and you guys kind of did what we had started, because if I'm not mistaken, you did the same stage setup we did, right? You sat in the front. Okay, that's what I thought. When Dave and Bobby and myself started that whole thing and how it ended, and we've squashed everything, so it's not like I'm talking shit.
Yeah.
The three of us were in kind of different places, but the biggest problem was Dave and I were on the same team, so to speak, because we were still in Tark Bus and we were playing fucking 30 times a month.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. I mean, it was 20 to 30 times a month, and that started to annoy Bobby. Mm-hmm. And then Bobby was kind of and again, I'm not talking shit. He'll tell you this, and I'm sure he told you anyway. But it was, to him, he wanted Duke Kings to be first, and we were going, we don't care about Duke Kings as much because Duke Kings is paying the bills. You know how much fucking money we're making right now? It came down to the money. So Dave and I and Bobby got in a big fight, and that was pretty much the end of it.
Yeah.
But it honestly came down to money. And Bobby and I we're fine. Him and Dave are fine. So it's not like it's any bad blood or anything like that. It was one of those things where, yeah, Dave and I wanted to do it and we wanted to keep doing it, but we just couldn't. Bobby wanted to make it a bigger priority than Dave and I did.
Yeah, he had to do it. Made sense.
Either one of us, and neither one of us was right or wrong. He was right and he was wrong. We were right and we were wrong, and it just didn't work. And I always thought that man could do way cooler shit, even after Dave and I were gone. As far as the way that Bobby writes and his vision for stuff and his riffs, he's just so damn good. And then the whole thing that we did, which I was glad that you guys carried on, because it was a 3-piece. For those of you guys that don't know, you probably don't. Some of you do. Some of you were around for it. We set the drummer, Ian and I both, in the front, and then Bobby and Dave, or Bobby and Derek, in your case, Ian, would run around the stage. And usually what we did at Phoenix Hill, we would put 2 mics up on the drum riser so they could go up there, which I thought was fucking awesome.
Yeah. We only did that, maybe the first half a dozen shows. And then we all went straight in a line across the stage. Yeah, and then of course, depending on the venue and the stage, sometimes the drums were in back. But we did, we placed the kit in different places. It was a fun thing.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I don't remember what you used for that gig, because I used a kick snare and a floor tom. That was it, and a few cymbals. But did you have a small kit like that? Because I'm not looking for anything specific, like, I'm better. It has nothing to do with that. I don't remember what you used.
Yeah, I was using my blue DWs. I had the rack floor kick and snare.
Okay, I remember that kick. Do you still have that rig?
Yeah, it's up in the treehouse where Vice Strix rehearses and tracks.
Gotcha. What rig do you use normally now? Because the last time I saw you play was I think Diamonds at Kev Fest. 5 serves.
Yeah, I was playing with Raul Borkar.
Yes. What rig were you using that night? Was that your rig, or was that a backline?
Yeah, those are my Birch DWs.
Okay.
So it's a 12, 14, 16, 24-inch kick.
Is there any other kick? I'm just kidding.
Depends. I got a buddy that's got a little 18-inch thing, and it sounds like a cannon. It's incredible.
I had a 20 by 20 forever that unmiked. It sounded amazing, but unmiked, it wasn't loud. It just sounded like a cannon. You stick a mic on that thing, it was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, this thing was 18 by 18, and it's a cannon.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're crazy.
Fireworks,
I'm down to. Wow, that's a really shitty thing to say. I'm throwing myself under the bus today. I don't give a fuck. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm down to 4 rigs now. This time last year I had 9. I sold some shit, but all of them are 24s except my rehearsal rig, the black Yamahas, which is that's the rig that's in all the videos now.
Yeah,
I used to use my Gretsch rig for rehearsal, and then did you ever meet Jamie Harris?
Man, I'm terrible with names.
That's okay. He was actually a redhead, but he was a bald dude that hung out with me for a long time. He was a really, really good dude. He passed away a few years ago, I think 2 years now. And that black rig that's in the videos that I do now, that was his rig. I bought it from him when he was alive. They're a green Yamaha Oak Custom, and he bought them to paint them purple, and you can feel the wood grain in them, and they were flat. I've got pictures of both versions on my Instagram and my Facebook and all that shit. But I said, give me those fucking drums. You're not painting those drums purple. I wouldn't let him. So I bought them from him and I put them away. I would only use them every once in a while. And then when he passed, I of course got sentimental, which I would have never gotten rid of him anyway. Not that rig.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about it, and I ended up painting them flat black. That's the flat black rig that I use now, is the green Yamahas. So if you've ever seen pictures of you personally on my Instagram or my Facebook of the green Yamahas, and then the black Yamahas, that's the same rig.
No shit.
Yeah, I painted them flat black, and I'm totally going to out myself. I fucking painted them with a roller. Here's why. Everybody I tell this to laughs just like that. But here's why I did it. I was so afraid I was going to lose the wood grain texture in them that I didn't want to spray them. Okay. So that's why I did them with a roller.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
was paranoid.
I've never refinished drums. I guess my snare drum, I refinished. I got a DW snare drum, and I tore it all down and refinished it. But I just sanded the heck out of it. I mean, like 1,000 grit sandpaper, and put an oil finish on it, and it's slick, man.
Oh, I bet it's beautiful.
It's slick. It doesn't hold any dust at all, like some other drums. It's caught in the finish.
Well, I have personally, as far as my own 2 little grubby hands, I've refinished 3 or 4 complete rigs, and then I've done 5 or 6 snares. A couple of them I threw them away because I fucked them up. But all the ones that I have painted now, like on my custom rigs, I get those painted by different people. The last one, the white sparkle one that's got the blue stripes that I did for the Delano tour last summer. Yeah, that's a buddy of mine named Scott Dolly. He paints hot rods and shit. And cool. I had him paint those for me. Now I stripped them down as far as I took everything off, and I sanded them a little bit because they already had paint on them. And he said, don't sand them, let me do it, because there was a layer of paint. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but did you ever see that white rig I had with the pink stripe?
Gosh, I don't think so.
That's okay.
I don't remember.
The only reason I'm asking is because it's the same rig.
Okay.
That rig's been painted twice. When I bought them, they were shit green. And the only reason I bought them is because the kick drum's a 24 by 20, and the rack is a 13, and the floor was a 16. And when I saw them, they were up in Cincinnati. This was, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. But they have the chrome nickel hardware, so it's like a dark gray hardware. The lugs and the rims are that nickel color, and as soon as I saw the picture of them, I went, I can fucking paint those white, and the lugs would look amazing. So I drove up to Cincinnati and I bought them, and I talked the guy down to like $300. And nice. They're a D-drum Dominion Ash, and that rig sounds amazing. So when the Delano tour came, I had been thinking about repainting them anyway, because some of the color was fading on it, because the original guy that I used, he didn't put enough clear on it. which is not his fault. And that shit just gets worn out from moving, yada, yada, yada. Because I use auto paint on them. So I talked to my buddy Scott and I said, hey, this is what I want to do. I said, can you do it? And he went, oh yeah, we can do that. So now the white sparkle with the blue stripes is what they came out to be. That's what I took on tour with Delano last year.
Oh, that's a slick looking kit, man.
Shanks. Yep. But yeah, I've refinished a few rigs or have had them refinished. I like doing it because, with the exception of my Gretsch rig, none of the rigs I've ever owned in my life, and I've probably owned at least 100 at this point, I've never bought a brand new rig. That Gretsch rig was the first rig that I ever bought that was brand new from the fucking store. Yeah. So I'll find something that's it's got a few little things in it. I can fix the bearing edges and I can paint this bitch and nobody will know the difference. And I've been doing that since.
Wow. That's cool. I guess I did, I got my old Slingerland kits, the chrome over maple, and I tore those all down. But I just cleaned them up. Now I gave all the drums to Tommy. He's got a guy, and he redid all the bearing edges on them.
That dude's good. He's redone a bearing edge on a snare for me before. That dude's really good.
Those drums sing. I couldn't believe it.
I don't know what that guy does, what he has, what kind of spiritual mojo he puts on that shit, but that dude is good.
But he wiped off that factory bearing edge and redid it, and they're incredible. They sound fantastic.
Did you leave the chrome wrap on them?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just cleaned them up. There's a stuff called you can get it like AutoZone called Never Dull, and it's kind of like a waxy, gritty cloth fiber thing. And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it cleans up all the chrome parts. Beautiful. Back to the way they looked when they came off the line, probably.
Nice. But I'm going to tell you a story so you can laugh and so my listeners can laugh. Years ago, and when I say years ago, I'm talking 20 years ago, long time ago. I've never claimed to be super smart. I like to think I'm half-ass intelligent, but 20 years ago, I was fucking dumb. I bought a set of hardware from a guy. The stands were great. It was just a bunch of different stands I needed, but they had been in his basement, and his basement was a little, I'm going to say it. You ready? Moist. Gosh. I made at least 7 people cringe. That's my goal for every show.
That's a word.
I know it's a word. Anyway, it was a little damp and moist and musty in his basement, so there was some rust spots on this hardware. So my dumbass decided to get, you remember the stuff Purple Power? You're already grimacing. Remember Purple Power? So I got Purple Power and a light grade steel wool, and I polished all these stands, and they came out beautiful. It really looked good. I had no fucking fingertips for a month.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. I got chemical contact burn on all my fingers. So for like a month, I had no fingertips.
Nice.
Here's your laugh for the day.
Yeah. You go do crime and they couldn't figure it out.
But now, see, that's the problem. If I would have been smarter, I would have known that. And I'd been like, hey, I can pull off a heist and shit. Nobody can find me. No, I just cried about it. My fingers.
Yeah, it sucks, though, when you mess up your hands.
Yeah, it does, which I worry about you with all the shit you do.
Yeah, I constantly, I got a metal splinter. One of these things it's still working its way out. It's been in there for a couple of weeks.
For those of you that don't know, Ian likes to build shit and fix shit and take shit apart and refix it and rebuild it. So, yeah, you need to be careful there, fucker.
I'm careful. I got a table saw at the shop that if you like hit it with your finger, it stops. There's a cartridge that stops the blade. It's like a chunk of aluminum that.
Oh, I've seen those.
It digs into the blade and it drops and keeps you from hurting yourself. But I'm careful. Always watch. You got to be careful.
You have to. Yeah, I freak out when I have a hammer and a nail and I'm good with a hammer and nail. I have no issues using it. It's not a coordination thing. I just freak out. One wrong move and you're fucked, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I was under my truck this morning and I was changing the carrier bearing on my drive shaft and I racked a couple knuckles on the frame. But it only hurts for a little while.
It'll be a scab tomorrow. We'll be good.
Swelling goes down.
Yes, the swelling does go down.
Eventually.
So what's next for you, brother? What do you got coming up? I mean, obviously we know what kind of world we live in right now. So that aside, what's next for you? You and Vice Trick's going to do some stuff coming up, or is it not due to the current state of affairs? But are you guys on hiatus besides that?
Yeah, everything on the books right now is in lock. We're not doing anything. All our shows have been canceled through the month of April, probably next month.
Right.
And, we're going to take this time. I'd set up my kid up at the treehouse, and I tracked 9 tracks yesterday. Songs,
nice. Very cool.
Material. We haven't put a record out in, I think it's been 7 years. And we have, I think I wrote down 16 songs that are undocumented.
Nice.
That we've played out. We've probably played half of those songs out for the past 3 or 4 years. We just haven't had the time or taken the time
to record
them. Yeah. So we're just I went up there, wiped everything down, sanitized everything, and hit record and knocked them out. So nice. I'm going to go up Tuesday and finish the rest of them. We're going to wipe everything down, and we'll get up there, and she'll lay her bass tracks down, and she'll wipe everything down, and then Joe will come in with his guitar parts, and
nice.
The time, and then hopefully by the time the dust settles, we'll be able to lay down vocals, and because we all sing. So
very cool. How many records are out now for Vice Tricks?
We have one record, like one album. We have a couple EPs. We have a live, maybe 2 live lunch recordings that are up, I think, on Bandcamp or whatever. I'm terrible about this stuff. I should know more. But like all that stuff is on the streaming services. But I think it's
show notes. Kids, I will research it for Ian, and I will put it in the link and in the show notes of this episode. Go ahead.
Thank you, Stephen.
I wish everybody could see your face because you were laughing pretty hard right there.
When I joined the band, I asked them, I said, I don't want to book shows. I just want to play drums. And
you know what I call that, don't you?
What do you call that, Stephen?
JPD. What do you do? JPD, motherfucker. JPD.
I got that JP-ditis.
Yeah. See, I got arrogant-itis, and I have to run every fucking thing I'm in, which is why I run all my bands. And some days I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well,
especially now because all of our gigs I had shit booked out to July, all canceled, all of it. Not even. Well, we'll see. No, they took everything.
Nope. I mean, we were going to be on. Gosh, I can't remember the date. We were going to be on Live Lunch, and we got a letter a week prior saying it was going to be there wasn't going to be an audience.
Right.
And I think the day before they told us that they were canceling it.
Wow.
So, and that was pretty much, we went to Nashville to play a show, and then we had like three shows lined up the following weekend, and they all canceled. So, and from there, that was it. So
I think the only in the world right now that's happy is REM.
They got a lot of use out of that song.
Yes, they did. I was glad I didn't have to explain that to you. I've said that to a couple people, and they're going, "What does that even mean? I don't understand what that means." You got to know the song. If you know the song, you get the joke. So don't say what the song is. We'll let the 7 listeners that are confused. We'll let them figure it out.
Well, regardless, I always feel fine. So.
I see what you did there. Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So where can everybody find you? Oh, wait. I have to ask you a question first. Sorry. This is one question I do have to ask you. What, and especially now because we have so much free time on our hands, what are you listening to right now? What are you digging?
Oh, gosh. Right now, and I've been listening to a lot of Queen here lately.
Right.
A lot. Gosh, I've been listening to a lot of Sensational Alex Harvey Band here lately.
Please text me that, so I got to find some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's wild. There's a band called Biffy Clyro. They're Scottish. And they're incredible. 3-piece. They're great. I listen to them a lot. There's a band that doesn't exist anymore, a band called As Tall as Lions. I've been getting into them.
I think I've heard that one. Rings a bell. I think I've heard of them.
Yes, their drummer's what's his name? Cliff Sarcona. It's fantastic. I mean, the dude just produced a lot of really neat grooves and on some of those records. I mean, I'll sit down, put my earbuds in, and play along the best I can, to some of that stuff.
Right.
But I was listening to something the other day that I was really into. I don't really listen to radio that much. I usually stuck to my own pod. But we do have Pandora at the house. So Carol, she'll put on some stuff, and I'll hear one band I've been kind of getting into, Silver Sun Pickups.
Yeah, I've gotten into them before. They're a great band.
Yeah, they've got some pretty neat grooves and it's pretty neat stuff. A lot of neat melody.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's more. So I'm always listening to something.
I like putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
You look up.
Oh,
those that can't see you, he looks up. Every time I ask him a question, he's like,
Yeah.
You and your pretty smile. You're such a pretty man.
Oh, shucks, man. You can't see my toes, but they're painted. My niece painted my toes for me a few weeks ago.
As cute as that is, I will have to say, everybody, human speaking, everybody is hot from the ankles up. I hate feet. Feet are disgusting.
Well, I may or may not take you a picture of my toes.
You text me a picture of your toes when we're out of this lockdown. I'm punching you in the fucking knee.
That might help. My toes are good. I've been hitting it in a while.
Yuck, I'm just kidding. All right, brother, where can everybody find you? Can you remember that? What is your Instagram and what is your Facebook?
Vistrix. Just Vistrix. Instagram, we're on Bandcamp, we're on all the streaming services, all of them. I didn't know that really until I was in California a few years ago working, and I was working with a guy, and I let him have control of the Apple radio, and one of our songs came on.
No shit.
And it freaked me out. I thought he was messing with me, and he had no idea. I didn't tell him I played music or anything, and it tripped me out. I'm like, what in the world? And he showed me his thing, and I was like, all right. And so I'd asked Jeremy, I'm like, dude, we're on Apple Radio. He's like, dude, we're on everything.
We're on everything.
What is that? JPD.
Yeah, yep, you got it. So where can everybody find Ian? Unless you don't want anybody to find you.
My name, Ian Bottomley, on Facebook.
Or I Am Monster Truck.
Instagram, I'm a Monster Truck. Yeah. But my Facebook handle used to be I'm a Monster Truck, and they canceled my account. This was probably years ago. Yeah. And didn't give me the opportunity to change my name or anything. And I guess they thought I was just some fake account. And I lived, believe it or not, without a Facebook account for a year. And then got an email.
I love you for that. I love you for that so much.
It's so easy to just get distracted. But
we call it the rabbit hole at my house.
Yeah. Well, we're all little bunny rabbits.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Stacy will be in the other room watching something. I'll be in the office working on something, and I'll hear the TV pause. 10, 15 minutes go by, and I'll go, Stacy, get out of the rabbit hole. And I'll hear, sorry. And then the TV will play again.
It happens to all of us.
Oh, don't worry. I do it too, because she'll throw shit at me. Hey, dummy, what are you doing? Oh, sorry. I was looking at something. So I do. I'm the most guilty of drum porn, though. Yeah. I go down the drum porn rabbit holes for hours. It's bad.
Yeah, I get on Instagram and I look at drum studios and recording rooms and tracking rooms, and it turns into snare drums and kits and diffusion panel. I've been picked up a little side hobby building diffusion panels, and I made one out of dog ears. We had a project at work, and I was using 6-foot fence pickets, cedar fence pickets, and had to lop all the dog ears off the top. Right. So I just kept all the dog ears and made a diffusion panel out of them. It's pretty neat.
Nice.
So I've been looking at all people's different creations. There's a lot of neat stuff out there. You know?
There is. When you use it all for good, there is a lot of neat stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched a video. I got distracted and saw a video of some dude, like the big 5-gallon water jugs.
Yeah.
That you see on like water machines or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had shoved a 6-pack of beer inside of one, and this dude polished off 6 beers in like one chug.
Oh my God.
I got that. I was just like, why did I just watch that? I mean, I wanted to.
Why did I do that?
I wanted to high five the guy, but I didn't get anything out of it. You know.
The rabbit hole, my friend. The rabbit hole.
It's easy to get lost in the hole.
I'm ending it right there because you're never gonna get better than that. That was awesome. Lost in the hole. I like it.
Oh man.
Ian, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for hanging out with me, and hopefully, we formed a distraction for some people in these crazy fucking times we live in.
Yeah, man. I hope so.
I hope so too.
And wouldn't mind hanging out with you sometime when this is all over with.
Yes, we first coffee is on me because I'm not a huge drinker. Actually, no. When this is over, I probably will become a drinker. I'm gonna go. You want to have a beer? Yes, I will. I'll go any fucking where you want to go. Where would you like to go? I'm there. So yes, I will have a beer. First beer is on me.
All right. Well, I won't hold you to it, but I'll hold you to it.
No, hold me to it. First beer's on me.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Cool deal.
Talk to you soon.
Cheers, man.
See ya. Well, that's it, kids. That's the show for the week. I hope you dug it. I hope you learned something. I hope my drummer friends, our drummer friends, got something out of it and got to geek out a little bit with us. We went down some rabbit holes, and we even talked about going down rabbit holes. And I did check out Alex Harvey Band, and got to be honest with you, it's not for me. I appreciate what they were trying to do, and I respect it, but it's just not for me. I couldn't get into it, but it is definitely worth checking out for you guys. Go find some of that stuff on YouTube. It's pretty fucking interesting. And that's it. I got nothing else for this close. I've got some other stuff I got to do. I've got some other shows I'm working on. I've got some really cool guests lined up. Not that Ian wasn't cool, because Ian is awesome, but I do have some cool guests lined up, and I've got some other stuff I'm working on. So that's it. I am out of here. And as I say, in these new times of the Black Plague, stay safe and shit. Yep. Stay safe. Stay at home. Learn a new skill. Learn a new trade. Learn how to trade and make some money on the internet, but don't sell pictures of your feet. And if you do, don't fucking tell me. I don't want to know. And make some noise. That's all you gotta do. Make some noise and learn some new shit. And just do this. So until next time, I will talk at you soon.